guys, it's Angelo, and today I want to talk about a topic which is very important to all of us, and something that many of you may want help with. How to sim your character using Raidbots and Simcraft. Many of you really want to try their best to get the maximum amount of damage out of their characters, and there's no better way to figure out how to do this than simming your character, and therefore your gear and your stats. With a multitude of trinkets and different gear combinations that can be used in Shadowlands, learning how to properly sim your character is a valuable tool to utilize, and in what better way could you learn it than watching a video about it? Now, in this video specifically, I will show you how to sim your character in multiple situations, be it single target, in a dungeon, or on cleave fights, how to change certain settings to make them suit your needs, and how to compare different gear sets, gems and enchants, and what to also keep in mind when simming your character. What you see in this video will be applicable for any character you play, no matter what class and spec they are. Even though I mostly cover priest related content, this info will be relevant to you regardless of your class and your spec. Now that being said though, the examples you will be seeing will be revolving around my main character, which of course is a Shadow Priest. Now if you wish to join the discussion with all things related to World of Warcraft, be sure to join my Discord server with the link in the description box below, of course. And if you want to ask me any questions concerning how to sim yourself, then be sure to join me live on Twitch every Wednesday, Thursday and Sunday at 7 PM Central European Time. Now before we begin, I know that many of you are here because you want to get the most out of your characters and you want to maximize your damage. Now, thanks to the sponsor of today's video, I'd like to show you where else you can do that. Sponsor time. Dragon Champions. Dragon Champions is a completely free-to-play mobile RPG where you can level up champions, engage in a multi-stage storyline filled with humor, WoW-related Easter eggs, and just have a lot of fun while you're craving it. Join guilds, participate in raids in order to defeat the most powerful enemies of Corridor, and even fight, you guessed it, dragons. I actually really enjoy increasing my damage through different items and upgrades, just as I would in WoW. Here, I'm upgrading Master Duo, whom reminds me a lot of a Pandaren warrior in WoW who is wearing some kind of Mogu armor that you would probably find in Pandaria, which is definitely quite cool. The game has a constant flow of events, quite an engaging campaign, and once you're done with the campaign, you'll have a horde mode waiting for you, allowing you to challenge yourself and figure out how strong your champions really are. Now, the developers were kind enough to give me a promo code for you guys, available for the next 30 days and before you reach level 15, giving you $10 worth of loot, as well as a brand new hero, the Corkrim, which is basically the shaman of this game. If you want to support this channel and want to play a good game while doing so, be sure to use my promo code ANGELOGIFT by clicking your settings and going into the use promo code option and get 500 to coins, 250,000 gold, and 500 campaign energy, as well as Corkrim completely for free. Thank you so much, my friends, and I will see you soon in-game. Okay, so before we start, I think it's important that we state something that may not be obvious to all of you. The simulated damage output of your character is to be taken with a grain of salt. At all times, that is, because your theoretical damage will never be exactly the same as your actual damage when put into practice. Just because your character is able to sim, for example, 5000 DPS in a 5-minute fight, will not mean that you will be able to actually do 5000 DPS in that same fight over the same period of time. Depending on vast amount of factors, like whether or not you'll be playing certain mechanics, how good your raid crew performs, and many other things, your damage may certainly vary. That being said though, simming your character is a wonderful way of getting a fundamental understanding of what your character is potentially able to do, which can obviously be very helpful information in many scenarios. Now, in order to properly sim yourself, we're going to be using two external applications. One is an add-on called Simcraft, while the other is a website called Raidbots. We will use the Simcraft add-on to generate the actual character string, which we can export, and we will use Raidbots to then place the string and have all of the detailed information about our character that we need. The Simcraft add-on can be downloaded on any major WoW add-on website or app and is called Simulation Craft. Raidbots is just a regular website, and you will not have to download anything concerning it. Once you've downloaded Simulation Craft, all you need to do is log into your character and type /simc into your chat and hit enter. Before you do this though, be sure that your character's talent and gear is set up the way you want it to be. Now you can still change this later on in Raidbots, but this will just save you that extra step. Now after typing /simc in chat, you will open up a little window in the middle of your screen where you will be able to simply copy all of the information by just hitting Ctrl+C on your keyboard for Windows and the Command+C keys for Mac users. You will then implement the string into any form of simulation you will be running, no matter if single target simulations, gear compare, top gear, stat weights, or anything else you wish to sim. But let's take things one step at a time. Let's switch over to Raidbots and take a look at what we can do here. On the Raidbots website, we're able to choose between 7 options: Top Gear, Gear Compare, Quick Sim, Advanced, Droptimizer, Talent Compare, and Stat Weights. Out of these 7, we will most only be using most of the time, that is 3 to 4, while the others are either very detailed and will not really have to be used, or will only be used every once in a while. For the purpose of this video, we will be looking at 3 of these variants in detail, which will be the Top Gear, Quick Sim, and the Droptimizer, starting us off with the easiest one, which is Quick Sim. Now, Quick Sim does exactly what its name states: a quick and easy simulation of your choosing for your character. All you do here now is paste the SimC string that you had just gotten from in-game into the little text box for it. The system will now automatically identify your character, and you can start modifying the simulation to your personal needs. In Quick Sim, your options to modify this are somewhat limited, but purposefully so, of course, so the only thing we will modify here is the fight style. You can sim your character in the mode of Patchwork, which is a single target only simulation, displaying how much DPS your character is able to do in a raw single target environment, Dungeon Slice, which attempts to simulate your character's output in a general dungeon environment, and many others like hectic ad cleave simulations, fights with light movement, fights with heavy movement, and much more. You get the idea. The easiest, most straightforward and direct simulation for you to use will be Patchwork, and that is exactly what we will be using here. As you can see here now, after a bit of loading time, you'll be able to see your result, and you will even be able to take a look at your theoretically most optimal rotation. Should you find yourself coming somewhat close to the simulation you just got, well then good job. If not, be sure to check what you're playing wrong within your rotation and try comparing your rotation to the one that Raidbots gives you. Now, next up, let's have a look at how to figure out which gear in your bags is actually the best. We do this by using the option Top Gear. Okay, so Top Gear is going to be a bit more complicated than Quick Sim, because there are many more factors that you can mess around with. If, for example, you're unsure which vault upgrade you should pick, or which one of the rings in your bags are best to use, simming yourself with Top Gear is the best way to solve your issues. And yes, whenever you stand in front of a weekly vault, Top Gear, or rather your SimC, is going to give you the string that you can use in Top Gear to actually sim your great vault. Now, Top Gear also lets you sim different socket combinations, enchantment combinations, and even different soulbind paths or conduits, as well as different talent combinations. The Top Gear simulation is probably the one you'll be using the most, and therefore it's important that you know how to use it. Now, with Top Gear, you'll also paste the SimC string in the same way you did with the Quick Sim, but as stated before, you can now simply click the items, gems, or talent builds or enchants which you want to compare to one another at your discretion. In this example here, I'm comparing 2 talent builds I typically pick, as well as 2 different rings. The results will then display which options are best for me to use, and I can decide which to equip them, or rather to equip them in-game. Now, of course, I'll let you play around with the options here a little yourself, just to figure it out, but for now, let's actually go ahead and move on to the Droptimizer. Now, the Droptimizer is not used as frequently, but especially when you're into raiding, it becomes a handy tool to quickly figure out which items within Castle Nathria, or any future raid, or even any dungeon, will be upgrades for you. The Droptimizer works quite simple. You choose which raid you want to analyze, which difficulty, and you just copy and paste the same SimC string you just copied before. All you do at this point is run the simulation, and at the end you will be left with items that can be considered an upgrade and how much of a DPS increase those would be to you. The Droptimizer is a great tool to easily figure out which bosses you still need loot from, and to figure out at what point within the tier you are ready to progress into the next level of raiding, be it from Raid Finder to Normal, from Normal to Heroic, or from Heroic to Mythic. Especially since the two final bosses, the Stone Legion Generals and Sire Denathrius, drop higher item level gear than the rest of their according bosses in that raid difficulty, honestly you'd be amazed at how many people would perhaps still pull an upgrade from doing at least the upper bosses on Normal or Heroic difficulty, and even though they may already be deep into either Heroic or Mythic content. As you can see on my Droptimizer, even though I already have full Heroic and somewhat Mythic items, I still need to kill a couple of lower Mythic bosses in order to snag a couple of upgrades. Alright, this should cover a solid basic level for you to start simming yourself with. Let me know if you want me to do more videos where I go into more detail with the way you should sim yourself, showing you how to properly sim, for example, a power infusion, showing you how to compare power infusion gains by giving it to yourself and giving it to another DPS, or maybe just see where you could improve your cooldown usage or your rotation in general. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below, of course. Now, as always, thank you everyone so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, and if you want to stay updated on the content of my channel, then feel free to subscribe. A special thanks to all of my supporters over at Patreon, as well as all subscribers over on Twitch. You guys are awesome. Now, as always my friends, have a good one, have fun simming your own characters. Again, be sure to leave a comment if you want to see me go into detail a bit more, and I will see you all in the next one.